Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Save Soil, Our Very Body, Conscious Planet from Sadhguru. So this was a request. I thought I'd go ahead and put this ahead of time because this is something I actually planned out a little bit and I'm quite late. I thought it would be kind of weird to react to this, but why not? So the thing I've heard a long time ago was we are destroying our top layer of the soil because of the farming equipment, I think, turning the soil. But I've heard from I think farmers that was actually a good way to a good method in farming, but I've heard that was also destroying it. I don't know if that's still true today. I've heard that one time a while back and never thought to look at it again. So let's go ahead and get started.
Imagine the country you live in being hit by less and less fertile soil, making crop growing increasingly difficult.
Sandstorm conditions prevail in the Indian capital, and now there are fears of early desertification of the region.
Desertification and erosion are both concerns.
Soil is the habitat upon which zillions of lives thrive. Because of that thriving life, everything grows. We eat food, other animals grow, everything happens because soil is rich. Once there is no richness in soil, then you have forsaken the planet in many ways. We talk of carbon, we talk of emissions, we talk of pollution at various levels. Before all that, we need to address the most important concern, because there is a misunderstanding in the world. There is a campaign to project civic issues as environmental issues. Right now, if plastic bags are floating around in New York City, this is not an ecological issue, this is a civic issue. If our rivers are polluted, this can be fixed. In 1 or 2 years, if you set up the necessary purification plants and enforce the law, these are civic issues which can be fixed with a little bit of law enforcement and awareness. But the real issue is soil.
The United Nations agencies, with enough scientific data, they're clearly saying that we have soil, agricultural soil, for another 80 to 100 crops on the planet. This is 45 to 60 years is what we have agricultural soil. We are calling this as soil extinction. You've heard of dinosaurs going extinct, you have heard of dodos going extinct, but this is soil extinction is what we are looking at.
I do wonder what's causing it. Like, I kind of figured as when we die as humans or any animals, or plants for that matter, when we die we enrich the soil. Is it because we are concentrating our corpses in one place? That's weird to say. Is it because we're concentrating the people that that they bury in one place? And that area becomes super rich, maybe even becomes fossil fuel later on. Weird to say too. But and then animals out in nature, they're getting kind of pushed back into, well, away from human population. So when they die, they don't die necessarily closer to the humans, but more far away, and therefore not enough of the corpses going to that area, so it's kind of becoming a desert-like because there's no nutrients going back into it. I do wonder what it's looking like in the US as well.
The real problem is soil extinction, because in the last 30 years, 80% of the biomass insects have disappeared from the planet. 80%. This is a suicide. This is a real suicide.
So in 45 years' time or 50 years' time, there will be serious food crisis on the planet, it's inevitable. When food crisis comes, well, whoever has the biggest guns will come and take the food. And the chaos and the suffering that we will create for populations around the world is unimaginable.
It's kind of weird. I remember, sorry I keep pausing it, but like I remember seeing a video where Africans, I believe it's one part of Africa, I'm not sure, but they tasted fresh water for the first time. It's really weird to think fresh water is something very scarce, but it's very true. I mean, tasting it for the first time, like even where I was born, you don't drink the, the faucet water. I mean, you could, I suppose, and maybe your stomach gets used to it. But I've lived in the US for so long that I go back there and I love the food, but it really upsets my stomach because it's just how it's, I guess, cooked maybe, I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just different and it's been a while. I like to think of it that way. But yeah, just crazy, you know, to think about fresh water or just food in general. I heard that the United States has so abundant of food. I don't know whether it's just because there's a lot of imports or whether we're producing a lot. And I don't know. If we produce a lot, then obviously we can export a lot of food to countries that can't produce food. But that's ultimately not the solution. It's obviously what Sadhguru is doing here is the solution. Is to find a way for every country to be able to sustain itself so that they're not dependent on other countries. That becomes problematic for the dependent countries.
Don't think only the poor people will die. They will kill the rich and rich will die. So this is not to paint a dark picture. This is a reality which has happened many times in our history, and once again it is being predicted by top scientists in the world. So what are we going to do?
Why is soil going away? Where is it going away? See, what is sand becomes soil if you add organic content to it. What is soil becomes sand if you take away all the organic content from it. If you go into a rainforest, the organic content in the soil will be over 70%. In normal agricultural soil, the minimum organic content that has to be there to call soil soil is 3 to 6%. 3% is the most minimum. But today, for example, in India, 62% of India's soil, the organic content is 0.5% or below that. So literally we are on the verge of desertification. This is across the world, this is not in one country. In United States, the way the land has been used in terms of herbicides, weedicides, pesticides, well, we need to understand nearly 82 to 86% of biodiversity is within the first 12 inches of topsoil. When we plow with machines like tractors plow to a depth of 9 to 12 inches and leave it open, this means we are destroying the biodiversity completely. What biodiversity means is…
Sorry, that's what I heard, where when they turn the topsoil, usually I've heard that does quite wonders for planting and growing vegetables or fruits or whatever it is they're growing, but it also destroys it. That's so weird. Like, why, if knowing that, why would you do it? But I guess if you need to grow a lot of crops or whatever it is, then you do what's best. Maybe not for the long term, but for the short term.
It's the humus in the soil. The word human comes from the word humus. That means this is actually living soil.
So it's very, very important that soil becomes the focus, because if you put 1/3 to 40% of the land, especially in the tropical world, under tree shade, your climate change could be easily reversed. Land is getting hot simply because it is plowed or it is paved. Land has to go under vegetation, whatever kind, natural grasses, bushes, trees, whatever, because all these are serving the ecological activity. And we must also understand soil is a very significant carbon sink, and soil is the largest water soak on the planet, and soil is the basis of all life. This 36 to 39 inches of topsoil on average around the planet is the basis of 87% of life on this planet. To keep the biodiversity alive is the most important thing that we need to do right now. Unless we start now, this will not happen. As a part of this, we are unfolding a movement called Conscious Planet to bring maximum number of people. Right now, it looks like climate change, ecology, all these are playground for the rich and elite. No, this must change. Individual human beings should become conscious about the danger that we are facing. Ecological issues must become election issues, and political parties must give significance to ecological issues in their manifestos. Governments must be elected for their concern for ecological issues. This needs to happen.
I also, at one point, it was during the time I was studying up about Monsanto's, I believe it was, where they develop a seed that can actually grow grow into plants with very little water. So it's basically areas that are has water issues, basically. I've heard positive and negative things about it. It's kind of weird. They talk bad about Monsanto's. I believe that's the company, and then then the things that they produce is quite good. I'm on the border about that, because one, Monsanto's owns the rights to how that plant, basically the gene seed, I guess, of that plant. How do I say this? So basically, they sell the seeds to the farmers plant it, and then when it grows up, the farmers cannot take the seeds from that plant. They cannot let the plant to go out to other places because it's copyrighted in a sense. And I get it, you know, they develop the seed that is so good at growing plenty of food and whatnot, and they want to protect it, but at the same time they're going out destroying these fields because, you know, they only paid to grow it once or something like that, and to ensure that their copyright is not going out into the wild. That's a good and bad thing. Good thing because then it's not contaminating the normal wild plants out there versus the genetically modified plants. And a bad thing because they're destroying stuff. I don't know. It's so confusing. I see, and they try to give this to, I think, South America or Africa, I believe, and some people destroyed it because they're saying, you know, you're harming the economy or the ecology over there. But at the same time, these people are starving, and it's like, dude, just plant it and eat it, and then, you know, don't replant or whatever. I don't know. It's confusing because these people are starving to death. And they're having issues growing enough food, and Monsanto's is sending seeds over there for them to plant so they can get food growing. So I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know what it has to do with soil, but it just made me think about that.
So we are seeing how to bring about a policy recommendation for 192 countries. The rally is starting on 21st of March, which is the equinox day in London. And from London, it's a single lone motorcycle riding through 24 countries, 30,000 kilometers, reaching the Kaveri Basin, where we are on ground working in a river basin which is 83,000 square kilometers, and 5.2 million farmers work here.
I'm sorry, whenever I look at that, I used to ride motorcycles, actually. I have one. Let me see. But what was it? It makes me think of my friend who actually rides motorcycles too as well. Let me see if I can show this to you guys. Whoopsie. Oh, here we go. Let's see if that works. Right there you go. Without the... Yeah, it's kind of blurry, but I don't have... there we go. Maybe it's a V-Strom, and it's not really meant for really long touring or anything like that. But you know, it's something to go to work and back and whatnot. But yeah, I would love... I don't know. I would love to ride. I don't know about long rides though. My butt might be hurting after a while. I don't know how Sadhguru does it. But yeah, I was just thinking about that, sorry.
The very body that we carry is soil. Without soil being rich and well, this body and every other life cannot be well. So in terms of ecology, in terms of climate change, the most important thing is that we need to have a conscious approach as to how we manage our soil, how we rejuvenate our soil, how we revitalize our soil. This conscious approach and creating a conscious planet is what is most important. Without involving large mass of people, this will not become a reality because we are democratic nations. Unless people say this is what they want, that is not going to happen. So let's create a conscious planet. Let us make it happen.
I want to see that one. I wonder what Sadhguru has to say about Greta. But yeah, I do wonder, like, if there's any, I wonder if there's any, how do I say this? I wonder if there's any push in the U.S. for this. I hope every country does this, especially agricultural countries. I mean, U.S. has so much funding and whatnot, so this should not be a problem. I wonder if farmers are taking note to this, like maybe noticing, how to say, like the growth of their, well, the video's over with, so if you want to end here, it's fine. I'm going to start talking for a little bit. I do wonder if they've taken notice of their growth, or are they so highly dependent on these seeds from Monsanto's or whatever other company out there that just grows with very little water and with maybe even very little nutrients. Or maybe even they're so dependent on, instead of taking care of the soil, again, quick fixes with just dropping a whole bunch of chemicals or whatever it is, minerals into the soil that may be like a temporary fix but causing maybe a long-term damage to the soil. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really I can do about this. I would love to have honestly plant me a garden. I'd love to grow some potatoes. Because it's the easiest thing to grow, and actually I really do want to grow potatoes, really do. I want to grow apples and an orange tree as well, so I can get free fruits and free vegetables. Why not? Reduce my costs if I can. But that's not really in the books right now. Too many things going on, and I really do want to do that though. But yeah, and I don't know. Save the soil. Save soil. There's really nothing much else I can say. There's a lot of things obviously I want to do in terms of just saving the planet. I guess let me go ahead and dish out my 2 cents in terms of saving stuff. Like for me, again, the little things that I do to try to save, like whenever I cook or wash things, I try not to use paper towels. Why? Because you think I'm being eco-friendly? No, I'm actually being practical. It just so happens to be eco-friendly. I just use towels and stuff, and I just have to wash them more frequently, or buy a lot of towels, put them in a big pile, and then wash them. That way I don't have to use paper towels or paper towels. I can use regular towels and just reuse them as needed. Anything I can do to, I would spend a little bit more money to get something that's reusable or that will last a long time, instead of something that may be cheap that I keep throwing away, and then you will end up losing more money in the long term than in the short term. So again, for everyone out there, try to be conscious of that. It's not just about being eco-friendly, but it's about being wallet friendly too, So just be conscious of what you buy and just think about other options out there. Again, completely up to you. You can spend your money in paper towels or whatever it is that you buy constantly, instead of buying something that's, maybe it's a little bit more trouble, but you would save money in the long term. And it happens to be eco-friendly too. I don't know. I'm not necessarily pushing to eco-friendliness, but I'm pushing more for trying to save money friendliness, because yeah, that's a thing now. I mean, it's always been a thing for me, but even more so now, especially during these times. So anyways, that's my reaction to somehow save the soil ends up to being saving money and eco-friendliness or something like that. Really weird. Anyways, that's my reaction to Save the Soil, our very body conscious planet with Sadhguru. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.